Okay, so I have so far watched Wicked for Good 3 times now, 2 times on its own, and today I did the double feature. Honestly, watching the second act, watching them as a double feature made me love the opening of Wicked for Good a bit more, but I still feel like they should have started with Every Day More Wicked and have scenes of Elphaba trying and failing to assist with the animals and just getting a worse and worse picture painted of herself. Some of her emotional songs don't hit as hard in the movie because they didn't give a chance to see the things that were affecting her that badly. Like when she goes to her sister for help, I feel like she should have looked more desperate. And then when she leaves her, I wish she would have looked just a bit more frazzled. And then when she gets betrayed by the wizard a second time, then when she finally gets Fiyero and he gets taken away from her, and she just says that she's gonna be evil through and through from now on. Even if you watch the original Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch isn't really that wicked. It's just like silly, goofy stuff that she does. She does all these things like writing words in the sky. She puts them to sleep. So it's nothing really too wicked that we've seen from the Witch and the Wizard of Oz. And I feel like bringing in more of the story of Wizard of Oz and also more of the story of the book Wicked into the second half of Wicked for Good, it would have really solved a lot of the problems that that movie has, because it kind of falls off the rails after No Good Deed. No Good Deed almost feels like a finale. Then we get, feel like that would be a perfect opportunity after No Good Deed and after March of the Witch Hunters, where we see Elphaba doing things trying to get the Gang of Four, where she maybe finds the poppy that Fiyero gave her at the train scene in Wicked for One, and she's like, poppies, oh yeah, I can put people to sleep. And so she like tries to put them to sleep so that she can get the shoes back. And this is when the audience figures out that the scarecrow is Fiyero, but Elphaba doesn't see that somehow. I feel like that would be a really good part to make in the movie. And then we actually see the monkeys hunt Dorothy down in order to bring her to Elphaba, and like we're just seeing her just losing her mind more and more. I actually feel like writing Glinda more into the story is a detriment to the actual story of Wicked, and that comes across heavily in the production of the play and also in the production of the movie, of how they tried to keep it as this epic friendship or even relationship that some people manage to see it as, despite all of the, I don't know, just not so great moments between Elphaba and Glinda. But I feel like writing her into the movie less, trying to make her less sympathetic and having her moment of realization stay in Couldn't Be Happier, and we spend the rest of the movie exploring Elphaba's feelings, and we only pick up Glinda again when we see Fiyero leave the wedding to get to Elphaba. Then we see her for a third time when Dorothy comes and she gives Nessa's shoes to Dorothy. And like I said, Elphaba should crash in after the tornado right into this party, sending Dorothy on her way to the wizard. She should crash that. And this is when Elphaba and Glinda should have another clash. And this is how they try to capture her. It would take a massive rewrite, but I feel like it would be a lot better than what they have going for it right now. I would also like to see Elphaba lose hope a little bit more and see that she's losing herself a little bit. In the book Wicked, she's trying to take out Madame Morrible because Madame Morrible uses magic on both her and Elphaba, and we don't really know how much of them has been, sort of mentally warped by Madame Morrible. And I don't know if she's part of an organization or working by herself. She's never really super clear about it when Fiyero finds her, but she plans to sort of either set off this bomb or magic, I can't remember which, while Madame Morrible is at an event, and it would end up killing like a couple of kids too. And so she's struggling. She's like, would it be better to take Madame Morrible out now, because I know she's such a terrible person, but I would also be killing all of these kids. And she ends up not being able to go through with it. But I feel like seeing a scene like that where she's about to do something just in order to take out maybe the wizard or Madame Morrible, and she sees that it's going to actually harm the animals more, or like the Munchkinlanders, and she realizes that she's become no better than the people around her. And this is when she determines that she should give the Grimoire up to someone who, from their position of power, would be able to use it better than she could. And this is where the plot point comes in, where we know Fiyero is alive as the Scarecrow, but she doesn't. But she's just sort of surrendering herself to give up this path that she's been on and to start a new life somewhere else. And she doesn't even know Fiyero is alive, and that just ends up sort of being a bonus after she fakes her own death. He sort of finds her again after he thinks that maybe she's died, but he finds her again. And then maybe we get the ending scene of Glinda with the Grimoire, and she's like maybe weeping or something. I don't know. But I just feel like trying to focus so much on their friendship is a detriment to the actual story, because honestly, Glinda isn't in the Wicked book very much. She mostly disappears after the meeting with the wizard. Elphaba sends her on her way because she's like, what I'm about to do isn't going to be safe, and you can't be with me because the way things are set up, you would be in a lot of danger, and I don't really think you can handle that, even though Elphaba can't really handle it that well either. And that's why I also like that once Glinda is out of the story a little bit, we get some time with Fiyero, so it would be nice if he would be able to like sneak away, something in the movie to get them together more. Oh, also something else that I was thinking when I was watching the double feature is in Wicked Part 1, when they go off on the bicycles to save the little lion cub, it would have been better if Fiyero was maybe out there, not Fiyero, but Feldspar was out there grazing on some grass or something, and hopped on him, and they would have to like double up, and it would be romantic, and like they're saving this lion cub together. And maybe Fiyero is making some snide remarks while they're getting to know each other out in the woods and realizing that they have an attraction to each other. And also when Fiyero is leaving the wedding, once he decides to run away with Elphaba, I kind of wish there was a moment where he's like, we should run off on Feldspar, or he tries to get on her broom and he can't really, sit on it, and maybe they think running away on Feldspar would be better, so they end up getting back to her lair on foot, but they weren't able to rescue Feldspar because maybe the guards were around. But this is also how they find out how to lie in wait for him later, or that just comes in after the Munchkinland where Dorothy has gotten Nessa's shoes. Some people like the scene at the end where Glinda is whispering into Elphaba's ear because it looks like the poster. Cheesy. Could have been cut, because there's just so much choppiness at the end of the movie. The last 20 to 15 minutes are a mess. Like, they're a really big mess. Elphaba goes from one of her lowest points to being just like, oh, fine, okay, I'll give you the Grimoire. And Glinda gets to have all of these high point moments where she gets to get rid of the wizard, even though that scene has always been lame to me in the musical, and it doesn't look any better on screen, in my opinion. Some people might like it, but I feel like it looks bad. Then she gets to get rid of Madame Morrible, even though Madame Morrible was still quite threatening in the previous scene, because she knows she does have the people's attention. Maybe not as much as Glinda does, but she's the press secretary. Like, she still has quite a bit of social power left in her. So Glinda just saying something wouldn't 100% mean that Madame Morrible will be out the door. That scene still feels lackluster to me. Or maybe like getting rid of Madame Morrible would have been Elphaba's one big evil moment or something. Evil moment. The end of the movie is just such a... We're on a pretty big high in No Good Deed, and then I feel like it just keeps going down and down from there. March of the Witch Hunters almost could bring it back up, especially with the way Bach was performing. He was doing such a good job, Ethan Slater, in March of the Witch Hunters. But then it just goes right back down again because we have the Madame Morrible confrontation scene. We have the Girl in the Bubble song. And then all we do is see a spotlight shown on Dorothy, Tin Man, Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion leaving the city. It's just like a big spotlight on them walking down the yellow brick road. Them not focusing on Dorothy. We don't need a whole story about Dorothy, but not getting a look on her face is just a detriment to the movie. And it already has so many things going against it. I feel like when I do get it on digital in the future, I might end up like sort of stopping the movie after No Good Deed, because there really isn't much good to see after that. And I know a lot of people love the song For Good, but that song, ooh, I don't know if it works for me. Like, I feel like you have to really love Glinda in order for a lot of this movie to work. And you kind of put Elphaba on the back burner. But for those of us who actually like Elphaba as a character, I feel like it's harder for us to accept how sloppy some parts of this movie is in order to accommodate Glinda. Rather than them getting For Good together at the end of the movie, I just feel like Elphaba should have a final song.